Once upon a time, in a small forgotten village tucked deep in the mountains, there lived an old woman named Granny Esme. She was known for her wrinkled face, gray hair, and the strange aura that surrounded her cottage. The villagers whispered about her, calling her a witch, a sorceress, or even worse, someone who had made a pact with the devil himself. But the truth was far stranger than any of their wild imaginations. Granny Esme had lived alone for as long as anyone could remember. Her only companion was a strange, shadowy figure that no one ever saw, except for her. To her, this figure was more than just a shadow. It was her friend, her confidant, and her protector. It all started many years ago, when Esme was just a young girl. She had lost her family to a plague, and in the grief-stricken loneliness that followed, she found herself wandering the woods. It was there, beneath the towering trees and in the deep fog, that she first encountered him, the demon. His name was Azazel. He was tall, with eyes like burning coals and a voice like thunder. His wings were vast, spreading across the sky, black as the void. He didn't frighten Esme, though. In fact, she felt a strange sense of comfort in his presence. Azazel, sensing her sorrow, spoke to her in a deep, rumbling voice. "You are alone, child," he said, "but you need not remain so." Granny Esme, still grieving, asked what he meant. "I offer you a companionship," Azazel continued, "a bond that will last until the end of time. In return, you will serve me when I call upon you." She hesitated, but her loneliness and despair clouded her judgment. She agreed, not knowing the true cost of the deal she was making. For years, Azazel visited her, always in the form of a shadow, never fully revealing his true nature. He would comfort her in her solitude, tell her stories of distant lands, and show her wonders beyond imagination. And in return, when the demon required her assistance, she would help him with his dark deeds, small acts at first, like gathering herbs for forbidden potions, and later, more sinister tasks. The village, ignorant of her pact, never suspected that the kindly old woman who sold them herbs and remedies was linked to the darkness that haunted their dreams. But the years wore on, and Granny Esme grew older. She could feel her time was running out, and the thought of losing Azazel, the only friend she had ever known, was unbearable. One cold winter night, she called upon him, asking for one final favor. "Azazel," she whispered, her frail hands trembling, "I have served you faithfully, as promised. But now I ask one thing in return. Will you stay with me, even after death? Will you be my companion for eternity?" The shadows shifted, and Azazel's deep voice echoed in her mind. "That is not how it works, Esme. Your life must come to an end, but I will always be with you in another form. I will carry your soul to the depths of the abyss, where we will remain, bound together forever." Esme smiled, her heart full of peace. She had always feared death, but now, with Azazel's promise, she no longer did. That night, she passed away, her old body finally giving in to the years of service to the demon. And as her soul left her body, Azazel kept his word. He embraced her spirit, pulling her into the depths of the shadows where she would dwell by his side. Some say they still hear Granny Esme's soft, melodic voice in the wind, as if she's still living in the darkness, forever bound to the demon she once called a friend. The villagers, who never knew the truth of her pact, still speak in hushed tones about the strange events that occur in the village at night. The air grows colder, the winds howl louder, and the shadows seem to move of their own accord. But no one dares approach Granny Esme's cottage anymore, for they know, deep in their bones, that there are far darker things than a lonely old woman living there. And in the depths of the night, if you listen closely, you might just hear the laughter of a friendship far older and far more terrifying than any mortal could ever understand.